The game behind me is The Lord of the Rings Online from Turbine Entertainment. And this is the game I'm going to be using to illustrate the video game versions of those three basic concepts of the Aristeia. That is the battle book baseline backdrop, the separation out from that backdrop of the primary hero in Iliad Book 5, that's Diomedes. Here it's my own character, Kuranaur, who is a captain, meaning that he helps lead fellowships, other characters, to deeds of greatness. And then third, the way that standing out, the way that excellence begins to raise questions about what it means to be a really good person. That is, values questions. All right, so Kuranaur is here going to ride out into the wilderness and slay some wargs. Wargs are big wolves from the Tolkien world, by the way. There's a warg. Kuranaur will run up, and you'll see that he engages in actions that I choose. Of course, I know what all of these are, and they end up being highly repetitive after a while, but I get to control what order I put them in. I've just put a banner up to increase my ability to slay this warg. And you'll see at the very end that once I slay this warg, I get 122 experience points. So on the one hand, we have the baseline, and I'll slay another warg just to show you how repetitive it is, just like the repetition of the battle books. Here's another one. On the one hand, we have the baseline of killing these wargs over and over again. Oops, I have two of them. Hopefully this won't be a problem. Once I kill one, you'll also see a special skill that I have, which is that I can raise a shout that will heal me and also those around me if I had anyone around me. And then you'll also see the way that once I get the experience points for doing this repetitive slaying, I am becoming a better character, better at being a captain, and above all, better at helping others in the groups that I'm a part of get to their own heights of valor and excellence. So you have the baseline of the slaying, you have the standing out in the gaining of experience points that will lead me to greater and greater feats of valor and of glory. And then finally, and this is something that I can't really show because I'm not grouped up with anyone here, but I hope you'll have the chance to group and to learn about this. You have the learning of how it helps to be a better player as you're helping others attain their goals. And even if those goals are more or less imaginary, nevertheless they correspond to deeds of valor and glory, just as the imaginary narrative of the Aristeia of Diomedes in Book 5 of the Iliad helps people learn, the audience, helps the audience of the Homeric poems learn better what it is to be a good warrior and a good person. So what's the takeaway? Well, in both cases, the fifth book of the Iliad and all of the Aristeia in the Iliad, and in video games, and the massively multiplayer online role-playing game in particular, what you have is a kind of storytelling that begins with what seem like repetitive violent acts, and in the early stages of the stories, whether it was Homer or video games, were basically repetitive violent acts without a forward narrative motion, without a place where they were going. You have that becoming, in the end, a way of asking questions about what it means to be valorous, what it means to be a warrior, and then from there, what it really means to be an ethically good person, to help the group, to obey the gods in the case of Diomedes, to be the kind of captain who is able to help a bunch of other people in the real world who are playing with you in this game, in the case of The Lord of the Rings Online.